As losers at the just concluded polls ponder their next move, the judiciary has deployed 47 judges who will be assisted by 47 magistrates across the counties in participation of election petitions at the county level. Now, the judiciary staff will also be responsible for conducting the swearing in of governors, senators, and women county representatives. Judiciary Chief Registrar Gladys Boss Sholei, who presided over the staff training, says they are in consultation with the Transition Authority on a conclusive program for the swearing in of the county officials. Well, KTN's Njoka reports on the judiciary's responsibilities at the county level as Kenya ushers in the new devolved government.
According to the new constitution, it will take only 14 days to handle any disputes arising from the presidential race. Disputes arising from other elective posts will take a record 6 months to conclude, and the judiciary is putting measures in place to ensure that these timelines are adhered to. Judicial officers will not go on leave until October to ensure speedy resolution of all disputes arising from the just concluded general election. Those hearing petitions will not handle other court matters until the disputes are determined under the Elections Petitions Rules 2013, gazetted on February 2013.
They are here to ensure that they get the briefing, collect all the oath books and all the documentation, and be told the drill of what they're supposed to do across the country, because we'll not have another opportunity to meet them. So they've come for the briefing, and they will brief the judges who are going to swear in the county governors.
They have been deployed to the counties to handle the swearing-in ceremonies, but first, the judiciary has to consult with the Transition Authority on the set date to swear the newly elected candidates in their respective governor, senator and women representative 10 days after the IEBC gazettes the list of nominees.
We've decided to still prepare our officers anyway, so that the moment they are gazetted, all they do is count the number of days thereafter and then prepare for the ceremony.
According to the pre-election report prepared by the Judiciary Working Committee on Election Preparations, chaired by Justice Mohammed Ibrahim, the judiciary anticipated that there could be up to 500 cases arising from the 2013 polls. The rules make provision for the scheduling of a pre-trial conference by the election court within 7 days of receipt of the last response to the petition that has been filed. Njoka, KTN.
Indeed, that story has been running side by side with a story that has just broken up a few minutes ago, and we have a new pope, as it were. The cardinals at the Sistine Chapel have elected one of their own as a pope. Up to now, we do not know who that pope is. We'll all be trying to figure out any moment now when that individual, that chosen cardinal walks through that window, that famous window to the Vatican, and that's only when we'll know who that pope is. But as of now, it's good for us to all know that indeed the cardinals, the 115 of them, have chosen a new pope. We will stay with that story, and while you're here, we'll be able to tell you who that is. But now, though, I'm joined by Gladys Boss Sholei, who's the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, just to run through that story that we have been running for you. Gladys, good to see you. Massive exercise we're expecting here next week on Tuesday, talking about swearing in governors, 47 governors, county representatives, all the things. How will this just play out, Gladys?
Sorry, thank you, James, and sorry, I think you've got to repeat the question. I didn't hear you clearly.
All right, good to see you, Gladys. Massive exercise that you're going to conduct next week, swearing in governors, 47 governors, happening concurrently among other officials. How will this just play out for us? Just lay down for us, how will this play out next week?
We're just preparing, just getting ourselves ready. The governors will be sworn in 10 days after the gazettement, and the county assembly members will be 14 days after gazettement. So we're waiting for the gazette notices, then we will have specific dates. But meanwhile, all our officers after today are ready to undertake that particular responsibility.
Well, that is the question then has been, and some of us, is this going to be a one-day exercise? Are we going to do all this swearing in just one day, or we have different separate days?
The swearing in of the governor is going to be on a separate day, because it's 10 days after gazettement. And that gazettement venue and time shall be gazetted by the Transition Authority. In the case of county assembly members, it's 14 days after gazettement. So you can see it will be on separate days, but that will be gazetted. The time and venue will be gazetted by the IEBC. So they will be held on separate days.
Gladys, let me just bring you back away from the swearing in. And we do expect one big petition from the presidential election that she's coming from court. They're promising, that they are going to, petition, send a petition anytime now. Is the judiciary ready, Gladys, to handle this particular case?
Yes, James, we are very ready. And you might have seen that way back, even as far back as 22nd of February, the judiciary did publish the guidelines about the presidential election petitions, which sets out the timelines very clearly. And in fact, the Supreme Court has unpacked it in great detail so that it is very easy for everybody to read. It's very clear from the law that one has to file the petition 7 days after the declaration of the result. And then thereafter, immediately it is filed at that time, then the registrar of the Supreme Court has to publish that petition within 3 days. And thereafter, the petitioner has to serve the respondent within another 3 days. And thereafter, the respondent has to file their response within another 3 days. That takes us to day 9. So on day 9 and 10, there will be a pre-trial conference. That is a meeting of the lawyers and the judges of the Supreme Court in order to narrow down issues, clarify what will be brought before trial, and so on. And thereafter, there shall be a hearing for 2 days. And after the 2 days hearing, then the Supreme Court will be ready to sit down and write its decision and be ready to deliver it before the end of the 14th day. So the time is very clear. It's 14 days, and the day hearings are going to be day to day until completion.
Just one final question following up on that. This is obviously, a legal matter, and obviously from here I just take, a legal precedent, if you like. In terms of the timing, we do know that's 14 days, and also a swearing in has been scheduled for the 26th. The Constitution actually lays that out. Do you think we're going to meet that 26th day of the swearing in, depending on what happens with this case? Or that is just a day that will have to be chosen after we get, the results of the Supreme Court?
I think what's happening, James, is that preparations are going on. Since at the moment there is no petition that has been filed yet in the Supreme Court, then the Assumption into Office of the President Committee is continuing with plans. But they realize that that date is a moving target, and therefore, if there is a date filed, a petition filed in court, they will immediately change their swearing-in date accordingly. So the dates keep changing. So if it will be on the 26th if there is no petition filed. But if there is a petition filed, then you know that if the petition is filed, for example, on, I think, let's say Saturday or Sunday, you just need to count 14 days thereafter, and then you should be able to know that they will be able to complete the petition by the 30th, which means you count the swearing-in ceremony will then be 7 days after the declaration of the Supreme Court. And if there is going to be another election, again, the law is very clear on the number of days we count thereafter. So everybody who's involved in the preparations is clearly aware that the dates may shift depending on when the petition is filed and if it is filed.
There's just one final question for me, though, Gladys. That is for the presidential election, but we do know and we do understand that some candidates from parliamentary level, Senate level, governor level say they are dissatisfied and they would be petitioning the court. They would actually be challenging those results. We do still wait to hear if those cases do come through. Is the judiciary prepared for that as well, to run concurrently with the presidential election, or how will that work?
Yes, it's only the presidential election petition, James, that goes to the Supreme Court. All the other petitions for county for governors and parliamentary will go to the High Court, and those that relate to the county assembly will go to the magistrates' courts. All our magistrates have been trained, all our High Court judges have been trained, and therefore we are able to hear all the cases concurrently. So if there's an election petition, we will be able to hear it. If there's no election, if there's a presidential election petition, we will go ahead to hear it simultaneously with other election petitions. Although, with those ones that will be held at the High Court, the date of filing is within 28 days after. So we expect them to come sometime at the end of April.
Gladys Boss Sholei, Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for talking to us and just giving us context and for shedding some light to some of our key questions regarding the petitions, presidential petition and any other petition that would be filed for any other level.